Great. Thing number four, lockdown darling stock Roku gets slammed by their Walmart acquisition.
Yeah, so let's talk about Roku for a minute. They made their name as one of the early manufacturers of streaming devices. They basically had a device that was maybe the size of two decks of cards, and
Hmm.
you'd plug it into the HDMI port of your television, and you could either have wired internet or run it off of Wi-Fi, and it would provide access to things like Netflix, Hulu, any kind of streaming, YouTube, any kind of streaming television. Now, as somebody who was an early adopter of these devices, and I cut the cord and I haven't had a cable subscription in well over 10 years. In 2012, when every large hedge fund on Wall Street owned Viacom and CBS, I was realizing, wait a minute, streaming television is going to completely disrupt this business. And, I've had streaming devices from Apple, from Google, from Amazon, and from Roku. And the Roku devices, they were good devices. They are good devices. But it was very hard to see that anybody had any kind of sustainable advantage. And then what ended up happening is now every smart TV basically comes equipped with this functionality, right? So if you go buy a Samsung TV or a Vizio TV, you plug the internet right into the television and you can get pretty much all of those same streaming options.
Yeah, and just to clarify a little bit of misspoke on the headline. So wasn't an acquisition of Roku by Walmart, but actually Walmart making an acquisition of TV maker Vizio, which further pushes your point, Gary, of them not only having a private label television brand, but then also now another acquisition that also has its own operating system called Smartcast as well.
Yeah, so that's the key thing. And what's happened here is Walmart, for their store brand of electronics, they have a store brand. I think it's ONN. I don't know if they pronounce it ONN or on. I haven't bought a TV at Walmart. But what they did was they went to Roku for the operating system. And so if you were to buy an ONN TV from Walmart, you turn it on, and the functionality that allows you to stream directly from your TV instead of using, one of the devices that we were talking about from the different manufacturers, that software, that operating system, is provided by Roku. And so Walmart announced the acquisition of Vizio, and the reason this is a threat to Roku is because Vizio has its own software called Smartcast. And so they haven't announced anything at this point, but I think it's really reasonable to assume that as Walmart starts to incorporate and finish its acquisition of Vizio and bring them in house, they're much more likely to use that Smartcast software across the Vizio brand and the ONN brand, or shift that business, the ONN business, entirely over to Vizio. I'm not sure how they're going to handle it, but it's hard to believe that Walmart would have acquired this and is going to continue paying Roku. That caused Roku's stock to crash as a result of that, and very weak guidance that was provided when they gave their fourth quarter earnings announcement a couple of weeks ago. That stock is down 35% this month. So
Yeah, and I think the
it's
call out there, just the lack of differentiation you mentioned too,
yeah.
right? Is what at the end of the day are you really getting with Roku that you can't get elsewhere?
Yeah, and that's the thing that, and I've used Roku devices. They're good. They're
Right.
legitimately good. For me, I like the Amazon Fire TV and Fire Stick devices
Hmm.
for one reason: is you can hack them. You can sideload software on them. You can get them to do stuff they're not supposed to do. Whereas Roku, they've got their system locked down, which is entirely their right. But if somebody's going to make a hackable device, and the whole point of streaming TV is to not be bound by what the cable company is going to offer you, then go with the creative answer if you're tech minded. And that's you can draw your own conclusions.
Great.